Hi, this is Tony, and we're back on the bench. And this evening, we're going to be doing another disassembly service here on this Daiwa Millionaire Model 5HS ball bearing casting reel. So I've recently serviced this reel, but we're going to go through all the take-apart steps, the cleaning, talk a little bit about that, and then I'll do a separate reassembly video. And you can see how it goes back together. And so we're going to start with taking the handle off, but I recently did a couple of other videos on some other casting reels that are similar to this, that were actually reels that were made for Sears by Daiwa. They're Ted Williams models. There's a 525 and a 560, I believe, that I just did, and they're very, very similar in design. Some slight differences, nothing major per se. Very similar reels, but they were known as trade reels, I think, and I've recently done those, and now it's time to do the Millionaire. So we'll see what this is about, but this is actually out of my own personal collection. Last time I used this was recent on a lake, doing some bass fishing. And, it's a nice little reel. It holds together pretty nice. I've had it a number of years. It's been kind of a staple, I think, for a long time. This is, early 80s reel, I believe. I'd have to double check the date on that, but I think it's somewhere around 83, 82 maybe, when this reel was made. So we've got a series of parts here that we're gonna take out. So we've got our wheel, and we've got a big spacer, aluminum spacer, I believe. And then we've got a series of washers here. So there's a couple of concave washers here. And then I think there's also another spacer washer here at the bottom. It might be a little hard to come out, but we'll get it out in a moment here. So we've got 3 thumb screws here that come apart. Loosen those up. But yeah, Daiwa's made some pretty neat products over the years, and they've been known for their precision and their mechanics, so to speak, which, we'll talk a little bit more about that in this reel when we get to the inside of the handle side here. There's another spacer washer there. Okay, so we'll put that off to the side. Got our spool. Okay. So in here, we want to, do a quick inspection in here at least and see what's going on in there. Okay, and, in order to get, this side off, there's just 3 screws on this side. And we're going to get to that here. Now, this is a 2-ball bearing reel. The 525 model that I just did a video on, it's got bushings on both sides instead of ball bearings. So this is just one little thing to note, but this does have true ball bearings, and they are somewhat serviceable. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But this is a high-speed reel. It says high speed down there, so the gear ratio is of a higher gear ratio. I actually don't recall what the gear ratio is specifically, but imagine it's at least a 4-to-1 or maybe a 5-to-1. I can't remember now. I have to look at that. Okay, so we got that out. Okay, and once you get to this point, you want to clean up, pieces and parts, as you go, or get them in the parts trays and stuff. This has relatively fresh grease in it because I recently serviced this. Okay, but there's your ball bearing down there. Now you can take this cap off. Now note that there is also another piece right here. It's kind of a flat spacer bushing. Okay, but you have to make sure you don't lose that or misplace it. Okay, and then you can get access to your bearing. Okay, I've got a bearing right here. Now these bearings specifically are non-serviceable bearings here, okay, but you can hose them down with some WD-40, clean them up really well, and then, you know, you can flood them just with a little bit of real oil, okay, and then, you know, that's really all you can do here, okay. You want to clean off these teeth on that gear really well, okay. I'm just going to put all these pieces and parts off to the side here. You get the idea of that. Okay, now here, we've got this lock here that needs to come out. It's actually a really nice design here, what they have going on here, so it's good. So we've got the worm gear. And then you have to be able to get this pawl out here as well, okay, and take that apart. Loosen that up. Okay. So here's our pawl. Now you want to inspect this pawl, okay, and you can see those teeth sticking out there. If you're working on this same reel, hopefully yours is in just as good a shape as this, if not better. Okay, if it's worn down, you know, parts, you know, for these reels, pretty difficult to come by, I'd say. You're probably just looking at a parts reel at that point, okay? But you want to take a Q-tip to the inside of this trough here, you know, and you want to clean, you know, all this out inside this tube here, essentially, all right? And, you know, WD-40, great product for this. CRC Power Lube, any kind of penetrating oil, all fine for that, okay? So there's all those pieces and parts there. Now we've got the handle side. We've got 2 screws in these positions here that have to come out. And it's the same deal with the bearing on this side. Non-serviceable bearing comes out the same way it does on the other side, so I'm not going to do it on this side. Because like I said, I've already serviced all this already. And, you know, if you run into a situation where there's bearings in there that are serviceable, I do have a separate video on the YouTube channel that you can check out about how to service your ball bearings. And that's a whole nother topic, okay? But these particular ones happen to be non-serviceable, and that's not an uncommon thing, so that's okay. All right, so now we got our innards here. Okay, we're going to take our main drive out with the drag stack and whatnot. Okay, and all you need to do here, you just put this in a container. You don't need to take all these pieces and parts out. There are some locking rings in here, some snap rings, but you know, it's not necessary. All you need to do is hose it down with some penetrating oil. Take a toothbrush, all right, clean off the pinion gear and all these pieces and parts gently. Okay, then take some 4-0 steel wool to this drive shaft, and that's really all you need to do there. Okay, now we've got our dog right here, our dog lever. Okay, you want to clean that off really well. Okay, and then we've got our drag stack as usual. Okay, so you want to clean this shaft off, of course. All right, and then we've got a spacer washer there. All right, and then we've got a series of drag stack washers here. Now with this reel, I had a problem. This actually has the original leather drag washers in here, but one of them was pretty much shredded and it was falling apart. So I substituted it with a different drag washer that I happen to have on hand. Okay, you want to clean off this gear, this main gear really well, okay? If you see any signs of rust or pitting under here, you want to try to clean it off with some 4-0 steel wool and really clean it up the best that you can. Okay, and then we've got our drag washers. So we've got a leather washer, a metal washer, another leather washer, a keyed washer, and this has teeth here that need to aim down into the gear. Okay, and then leather washer. And then there is actually another metal washer, and this one it's kind of ribbed here at the top, and that one goes on the top. And so that's your drag stack right there. Okay, but yeah, one of these washers I had to change out for another leather washer, and it's not uncommon for that to happen with leather washers because they degrade quickly. But another substitute that works with this particular model comes out of the Pen 155 monofill models 25, 26, and 27. That same drag washer will fit in here just fine, and they're not too thick. It'll work. It's a good substitute. So if you run into that problem, that's something you can do. So there you have it. That's the complete disassembly of this reel, and I'm going to do the reassembly video and be posting that shortly. So thanks again for watching. This is Tony with Back on the Bench. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please do subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button, and we'll see you next time.